Day on RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Your manifestation, it's like a snowflake. It really is. And I think I wanted to talk about a couple aspects of manifesting. And I think some of the, I don't want to say pitfalls, but some of the things I think we do to ourselves that hide our manifestation from us, or even in some cases, sort of imply how the manifestation should evolve. And I think we get ourselves in a lot of trouble when that happens. Now, I want to say I've consciously chosen to manifest a great number of things in my life. I'm not trying to brag. It's nothing like that. It's just I've been aware of this concept for a number of years, and I've used it for a number of years. I've definitely seen success with it, but what I've also seen is that it's almost manifestations seldom happen exactly how I think they're going to. I might have imagined them. I might have put some time into them, but ultimately when they come to me, a lot of times they're a little different. I will say there's definitely been times where it was like spot on. So that happens. It does. But playing the numbers, I've manifested, let's say of 100% of the things I've manifested, I don't know, like 75% of them are not exactly or are different enough from what I was trying to do and what I actually got. We're different enough in that I was like, okay, I think it's a good idea to just kind of be open. We tell the universe, hey, universe, here's this thing I'd like to manifest. Bring it to me. And then for me, the fun part, and this is what I've been trying to get a lot of others to understand, but the fun part for me is when you notice during the day, certain things happen. A lot of times we call them coincidences. A lot of times we might say, is this a sign? A lot of times we might say, so-and-so talked to me, but that's actually the girlfriend of the person I'm interested in. Oh, no, I've manifested a third party. And I actually maybe have a slightly different take on some of these moments. Rather than it maybe not being exactly what I'm asking for, rather than it maybe starting to show itself in different ways and being concerned, I actually realize that's the magic about the manifestation. That's the snowflake part. Like, that's the part that makes it fun. Watching it unfold, watching it happen, watching it become real. So a couple examples that I want to get into, just trying to do a moderately quick show. First, I think it's important to remember exactly versus really close, to me, is a big distinction. It's like rule number one, let's not be so strict on what we're imagining and what's playing out that we miss the boat when it happens. And I'll explain that a bit, but we get so focused on how it should be that when the reality starts to happen, when the way it actually is unfolding begins to happen in front of us, sometimes we throw up our hands and say, it's not what I was saying, though. And I think it's important to ride the wave that comes to you, to experience and open yourself to what you're seeing, because you've been working on this manifestation. Now you've got this coincidental thing in front of you. And rather than saying, that's not quite how it is, so I'm not going to react, or that's not quite how it's supposed to be, so that's not it, or that's not quite how it's supposed to be, so, I'll go back to the drawing board and keep imagining. But the reality is, that is part of your manifestation. This thing that's not exactly what you wanted is part of your manifestation. So to play out a couple scenarios, just to give examples of how things can end up differently than what your intention is. Great example is trying to manifest weight loss. I know people are doing that. They're trying to use law of attraction to help lose a couple pounds or whatever the case is, right? Maybe get themselves to the gym more or whatever. So they do these imaginal scenes. They see themselves like skinnier, right? They imagine seeing themselves in the mirror. They imagine all the different techniques, right? I remember when I was fatter, all the different things, and having people imagine them saying, "Oh my God, you look great. Have you lost weight?" Like, you imagine all the stuff happening, and it's great. And then so you go your next day, and you're honestly in your mind, you're like, I'm just going to shed pounds. They're going to just like fall off my body. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to say anything because I'm using law of attraction. The very next day, you might bump into somebody who starts talking about certain foods and certain ways they affect our bodies and certain types of diet type things. Maybe things that even directly relate to you. Maybe things like ketosis, right? don't eat for a little period of time, your body goes into ketosis, starts burning fat, and you're like, wow, that's really interesting. Anyway, yeah, I'm using law of attraction just to lose weight, so whatever. Next. And they go about their day. Maybe they bump into somebody else that's like, yeah, it's really funny. Like Anyas and I did the other day. It's like, wow, it's really funny how blood type seems to affect, what foods and how they react in our body, like what foods we can eat and how they affect us. It's really weird. There seems to be this correlation with blood type. And this is just, again, a random conversation. Maybe it's your friend. They're bringing it up and you're like, yeah. In your mind, you're like, I'm losing law of attraction. I'm losing weight using law of attraction. So I don't need to. And a real quick aside, the blood type thing. Man, I got some people upset with me because I didn't realize O positive was a very common blood type. So I was totally wrong on that. And just to play the small story out, I went and donated for my father eons ago. And that was when I found out I was O negative. And the nurse lady said, oh, you're O negative. That's great. You're a universal donor. That's kind of rare. And I was like, oh, I got rare blood. What do you know? I never really looked into it. So roughly 37% are O positive. Roughly 7% are O negative. I did not realize that. So anyway, I'm O negative. Somewhat not common, but still not like some of the other ones that are like 1% and 3% and stuff like that. So anyway, a lot of people were making comments saying I didn't know. I was like, I was wrong. And I was like, you're right. I was wrong. I didn't think it was a hugely important issue to be wrong on, but I humbly admit I was wrong to you guys. So anyway, so these things start popping up. Maybe you start bumping into someone that's really into the gym and is talking about how they've been going to the workout thing and they've got this new little fitness thing that happens every Tuesday and Thursday, and it's like self-defense and it's fun, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm losing weight using law of attraction. So this person, this fake person I just made up for the weight loss thing that's using law of attraction to manifest weight loss, ignored 3 key parts of her manifestation coming true. 3 key things that were part of her manifestation that were meant to help her along on, I don't know why it's a her, I guess it's just going to be, were meant to help her along this manifestation process, and were meant to accomplish what she was trying to manifest. But she believed that this was supposed to happen without any effort on her part. It was going to happen regardless. It was going to happen without, right? So all this stuff was to her was just science. It's like, well, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight using law of attraction. And then all these people kept popping up, and then they'll leave a comment and say, is that a sign? And it's like, no, you just missed opportunities. That was your opportunity. That was your manifestation. You manifested a path to your goal. Now, in your mind, your goal should have happened differently. The reality of it is it was presenting itself to you how it should, how it's supposed to. Where a lot of us fail is we say, well, that's not what I was asking for. It is actually what you were asking for. Maybe not exactly how you were asking, maybe not exactly what you were expecting to see, and maybe what you're trying to manifest can't manifest the way you're trying to do it. So maybe this is the reality version of it. Maybe this is what you're creating, but maybe just not exactly how. We need to pay attention to what's showing itself to us. That is what we need to respond to. We can't have this thing stuck in our head with how it's supposed to be, and then when reality happens and it doesn't quite match, we just throw our hands up and say, I guess this doesn't work. No, not even close. It totally works. Yeah, it's like 80%. Whoopee. Wasn't 100% right like you thought it would be. So, it's 80%. This is you. You created this. This is how it needs to happen. Maybe there's a benefit to it. Maybe there's some other thing you're going to learn. Maybe by becoming more knowledgeable about food and how it affects your body, it will make your long-term weight loss, keeping it off, way easier. Maybe you start doing videos on it because you get so into fitness, you do the exercise and you're like, oh my God, I love this class, right? That certain class, maybe it's martial arts or something, you're doing punches and you do that for 45 minutes and you're exhausted by the end of it. Maybe you end up teaching that class 2 years later because you get so into it. A lot of things can come from these little steps in our path. And maybe we're like, well, no, it's supposed to happen this way. It's bigger than that usually. There's more to it than that usually. So, yes, we are manifesting everything that's happening to us, and it's important to stay open to some of those nuances that actually are probably your manifestation coming to you in a slightly different form. Let's talk about a specific person. Similar concepts happen in this path as well. Many of us are trying so hard to manifest a relationship with someone in particular. Maybe it's an ex, maybe it's someone that you've got your eye on at the office, maybe it's just someone that you see every day that walks across the street and you're trying to get them to walk on your side of the street, whatever. So you spend all this time, you imagine, you do all these things, you see yourself getting married to them, whatever. And the very next day, maybe someone walks up to you that knows them, a friend of them, you might not even know it, but starts talking to you about something random that has nothing to do with anything. And you start talking, and you have this discussion about, I don't know, movies. Maybe you're really into movies, and you're talking about a certain movie. Maybe it's a Marvel Comics or whatever, right? You're into some sort of thing, Captain America, whatever her name is. Like, right, you're talking about something fascinating. And this individual may be friends with the person that you're a specific person with. And through course of events, 3, 4, 5 days later after this discussion, maybe this person gets in your specific person's ear and unknowingly starts talking about you and this movies that you were talking about and how interesting it was and blah, blah, blah. Now, all of a sudden, your specific person's got your name in their ear. Now, all of a sudden, they realize, oh, we've got something in common. So maybe when I see her, I'll be like, oh, so you like Marvel movies? Things happen in roundabout ways. Yeah, you're trying to get the relationship with them. That's not necessarily going to be how they come to you. I know that's what you're manifesting. You're manifesting him. He's going to walk right up to you at work and get in front of you and just plant a kiss on your face, and there you go. And if it doesn't happen that way, well, I'm not interested. Problem is, in that case specifically, something like that at work, first off, especially in the United States, there's almost no way a dude's going to walk up to you and plant a kiss on your face at work. That's like an HR violation. You will lose your job. You just might as well just give up everything you've been working for and end up with a bad strike on your record, basically, for doing something like that. Like, you don't do that. And God forbid you're wrong, and you thought you had manifested this person that you're going to walk up to and kiss, and all of a sudden you do, and they smack you. And, so again, it's not going to happen that way. Not like 99.9% not gonna. Yeah, you could manifest some crazy person that does that, but wow, that's really scary and really dangerous. So it shouldn't happen that way. So how it might happen is a roundabout way. Maybe, here's another one. You get that third party, that person that maybe you've seen them on Instagram. You don't know anything more about them than that, but they're on Instagram. They always seem to be with the person you're interested in. So maybe we've assumed things about this individual. Maybe we've assumed that there's someone they're dating. Maybe we've assumed this is someone that they're interested in. When in reality, maybe that's not the case. But maybe third-party person walks up and has a conversation with you. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't want to talk to you because you are a third party and I don't like you. Right? Like, probably doesn't sound quite so attitude-y, right? I always do Valley Girl when it's silly, right? But anyway, we see this person walk up. We don't like them already because we've already made up our mind about who they are and what they represent, the fact that they're here to take away our dream from us. So when they walk up to us, we might not be open to it. But kind of like from the movie Roadhouse, for those of you that are my age or older, Patrick Swayze, great movie, even though the guy's passed, he's just a great actor. Ghost and Dirty Dancing, just a lot of good movies. Patrick Swayze was a cool guy. But Roadhouse, he talks about just be nice. What if they call my mom names? Just be nice. When is it okay not to be nice? When I tell you. So just be nice. When this person walks up, be nice. Be nice to them. Because, again, like my last illustration, this person may be finding out information about you. Maybe there's an interest from this friend, and they're like, hey, can you talk to her? I'm kind of curious what's up. I don't know. I'm like afraid to talk to her because I don't really know, or it's at work or whatever. Can you just maybe find out some stuff? I always catch her seeing me, and I definitely notice her. So you send an in-between person, a go-between, someone of the same sex maybe, where it's safe to get in there and start asking questions that aren't appropriate. Start feeling things out. Yet if you, when they approach you, start being a total bad person because you think they're a horrible person and that they're cheating on your boyfriend with you or your specific person, then you're going to miss the opportunity that's actually in front of you right now. You're going to push it away. You're going to end up looking energetically bad because you're jealous, because you're needy, right? So a lot of these negative energies start to come out, which is not very attractive. So then she goes back to the SP and says, she's kind of weird. I don't know. and she doesn't like Marvel movies. What the hell, right? Like, whatever the case is. A lot of the times these things will unfold in ways that we didn't quite plan. Doesn't mean law of attraction is not working. It means that life is a large part of this. Things need to unfold in the right way for us, for our paths, for our soul, for development, for things that we're going to learn along the way, for things that we're going to grow along the way. It is not just this life is constantly simple and I never have any effort in life. No, that's not the truth at all. There will be effort. Things that matter, you will put effort towards them. Anything that's worth anything probably took effort to some degree. I'm not saying it's hard, and I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not trying to put my beliefs on it, but things happen, and they require us to evolve. Life will help us evolve. That is the purpose of life to a large extent. So to try to manifest ways around that is contrary to what we're here to do, and in so often cases it goes against your life path. And you can't manifest things outside of your life path. You can't. You can't. You will not get it. I promise you. You can do every technique under the sun, but if it screws up your life path, if you actually manifested whatever it is, you will not manifest it. Or you will be given so many opportunities to realize why you shouldn't. And if you keep going down that path, then sometimes bad things can happen. I'm thinking crime. Crime's a great example. Constantly trying to cheat the system. Every time I try it, I almost get caught. Something happens. Someone keeps walking in right when I'm about to do it. Almost 5 different times I've been caught before I was about to steal something maybe from work, right? Something that I want. I'm just making up an example. And then finally, I try for the 6th time because the universe has shown me 5 other times I shouldn't do this. And on the 6th time, I grab it, I put it in my bag. They catch me on camera. Someone sees me. I lose my job, maybe get in trouble, maybe end up in jail. You were given 5 chances to change course, and you kept insisting on going down this path. That is how we end up in places you don't want to go. And yes, you can. You can push a bad decision and push a bad decision and push a bad decision. And eventually, life will allow you to have that bad decision. And in most cases, you're like, that's a bad decision. Whoops. And sometimes the oops is such a large one, it's hard to live down. Sometimes you luck out, and the oops is something that you went out on one date, and you're like, oh man, he was nothing like I thought he was going to be. Wow, all he did was talked about himself. Like, this guy loves himself more than he could potentially love anybody. You realized this guy is not what we had him painted in our minds. Again, manifestation, law of attraction, I had it in my mind that he was all these things, and then the reality of it is different. Well, sometimes we attract people based off of where we're at in our lives. Again, growth. All these things tie together. So your manifestation may be very specific in your mind, but open it up a little bit. Allow a little more variance in what you actually experience. Allow a little variance in what is coming to you. Allow some variance in what you're looking for. So when that thing does pop up in front of you, when their friend walks up to you and starts talking to you, and you're like, in your mind, you're like, okay, this is super weird. The third party chick is talking to me. She's being really friendly. Okay, let's see what this is about. This is interesting. Life just presented this to me. Life just handed me some lemons. I'm making some lemonade. Let's see what goes on. That is how you will find your manifestations in many, many cases. There's so many of us that miss opportunities, that miss the boat completely, because we expect it to be a certain way, because we read a book someplace and this one situation that someone's talking about, it happened exactly how they thought it would. So now all of a sudden we're under the impression that 100% of the things this person did happened exactly how they said. And you know what? You don't have enough information to assume that. You're reading about one situation, one manifestation, and you're saying all of them are like this now. No, they're not. I'm telling you, at least, as someone that's read the same books and saw that people have done some really cool stuff exactly how they said. And I know of lots of examples, not just personal, but with other people I know and other books, that things sometimes happen a little differently. doesn't take away from the fact that it was a manifestation. It just means it happens a little differently. We need to be open to that. Hopefully this gets us in that right place, that right frame of mind, that place where we're open to what's around us, where we start to see those little things as bigger victories. We start to realize when that third party walked up to us that this wasn't bad, that this actually was good, that 3 days later from the discussion I had with third party person, my specific person actually walked up to me, started a conversation, and oddly, it was on the similar subject. It's like the doorway got opened because of third party person, because third party person maybe is just a friend, and maybe not all the stuff that we think they are. Just because you think it doesn't mean it's so. Just because you think it doesn't make it so. And oftentimes what we're thinking something is us pushed out. And if we're assuming things that are incorrect, and you find out that what you assumed was incorrect, quickly remind yourself, that was an us pushed out moment for me. Why did I assume that? Was I being insecure? Was I scared? Am I in fear? Is there I'm not good enough kind of thing going on? Do I need to maybe butter up? That's probably the wrong word. Should I get better at my self-love techniques? Should I get back to those and maybe put a little extra effort into that? Maybe. But it's good to notice when these things happen. I do it. I project sometimes. And when I do, it's like, ooh, you totally projected on that one, dude. Let's look at why. Because I basically pointed a finger at them and I had 3 pointing back at me. So I know dang well what's my problem. My problem is what I just accused them of. Why? Why am I doing that? And, through those answers, I've made huge changes and strides. I've evolved and become a better man every step of the way. I try to anyways. There's plenty of times I fall on my face. Plenty of times I make mistakes about blood types, maybe. Other things too sometimes. It happens. But, you fall on the sword. You admit to it. You're open. We're humble. We keep moving forward. And you will be amazed that you will find your dreams. And yes, your dreams will be snowflakes unto you. They will be very special. And it's part of the fun. It's part of the magic. And really, when you start to open it up, you'll start to see a lot more of the things that are swirling around you. They're swirling about. And these are the things that are creating this reality you want so dearly. Hopefully this makes a difference. Dan, Radio Style.